today's video, I am going to share with you how I cut bangs in my hair to produce this retro 70s sort of inspired hairstyle. I will also show you how we can transform this hair into a very 60s Brigitte Bardot inspired look as well. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's begin. I want to begin by showing you the length of my hair. My hair is pretty much all one length. The front is a tiny bit shorter, but honestly not by very much. It is pretty much all one length. So here I'm taking a section of my hair, and ultimately what we're going to do is try to make a triangle section. So I'm taking my comb and I'm working it back and going in an angle, so we will end up with a triangle on top. Now keep in mind, you don't want to go too wide on the sides because then your bangs will be like really wide and cutting into what would normally be like your side hair. So I'm going to go ahead and take some off of the back here because I could see that I'm going just a little too far back. The bang is going to be a little heavier than I want. So I'm taking some, adding it towards the back and just kind of narrowing my triangle even further. I've noticed that it's a little bit too wide on the sides. I want it more narrow. So here I am just kind of playing with it, adjusting the size of the triangle, making it smaller so it's not quite as heavy. I don't want a see-through bang that's like really thin. I do want some weight in there, but I don't want to go overboard cutting the bang and then regret it later. Okay, so here I have found the size that I want. I'm happy with the size of my triangle and I'm ready to cut. Before I cut it, I am going to give it a twist, as you can see here. I've twisted it. I'm going to flatten it out just a bit with my fingers right there. And I'm going to go ahead at the bridge of my nose because I want my bang kind of long and give it a nice cut. And there we go. If you're wondering why I twisted it, that twisting technique creates the bang to frame your face. And as you can see here, the bang is not just straight across. It actually starts framing the face and it kind of goes in like an arch. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a finer comb, just a regular. I was using a wide tooth just to get through my tangles because my hair is always crazy tangled. My hair is really dry, it's frizzy, it's color treated, it's just not in good condition. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my shears and I'm going to start adding some wispy layers to frame my face. I'm not adding any layers to the back. I'm just simply going to add like wispy layers right here to the front to frame the face, add some texture, add some movement, and make it interesting. As you see, I'm taking the shear, I'm just working it down. I go ahead and comb the hair straight, grab the shortest one, and basically pick up from where the shortest one I left off. Okay, so I left off in the midway there. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my shears and kind of just slowly start taking off a little bit more. Remember, less is more. You don't want to go crazy doing this because you don't want to take big chunks out. You simply want to frame your face. This is a technique to save the volume of your hair. I am a person that doesn't have a lot of hair. I have very thin hair, so I don't want to add layers to the back. I want to save my volume. I want to save the hair that I have so it doesn't look even thinner. Now, if you see here, you can see the difference between the short and the long. And that's kind of where I want to add the wisp. As you've seen, I just kind of picked up from where my bang left off and just kind of started adding the wisp right about there. And here I'm going like kind of midway and just aiming the scissor down. You don't want to go in a horizontal direction. You want to go vertical and just go down and just take a little bit off. I know it may not seem like much of a difference, like not much is happening, but mainly when you have thin hair, it does make a difference. You will see the difference. You will see that you have some wisps in the front. Once it's dry and You know, like right now, I'm already kind of moving it around, and you can see that there's wisps in the front. So they're there, and mostly with thin hair. You don't want to go crazy. Now at this point, you can stop there. But if you want to add some movement to your hair, if you want to add some layers to it, this is a haircut technique for adding layers. You may have seen this before on YouTube, on other videos where people bring their hair to the very top. They bring it all together, they bring it to the very top and stick it straight up and cut. They cut and trim the very tips and even sort of work their way down sometimes to add more layers. But that's where you would cut to get like a small layer that would be 2 inches. And you could keep working your way down and cutting more, and that would give you even more and more of a shaggy layered look. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do that today because I don't want to add any layers to my hair. My hair's already like really super thin. And I noticed that when I add layers to the back of it, it just looks thinner. It looks see-through. I know that layer is supposed to give you volume, but really when your hair is already thin, what you really need is more hair, not getting rid of it. So here I'm just adding a little product. This is actually a curling spray, but I just want to add a little bit of thickness to my hair. All right, so before my hair starts to dry and get crazy and take on whatever shape it wants, I went ahead and grabbed the blow dryer, and I'm going to go ahead and start combing those bangs straight down. I want them to take a good shape, so I'm just kind of going straight down. I could have probably used like a round brush, and it probably would have been better, but I had a flat brush with me right there, so that's what I used. Once I got the bangs pretty decent and pretty much how I wanted them, I started blow drying my roots. I wanted to add a little bit of volume to the roots because I don't want my hair to look totally flat, and just started blowing out the rest of it and then just kind of turning it in. And once I got it pretty much straight, I started blow drying it out, at least just the part around the face, blowing it out, trying to create a really nice and smooth foundation, getting it ready to start curling it. So here is the curling iron that I used, and this was a Conair, inexpensive 1-inch barrel, just basic curling iron. Is this my favorite curling iron? No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I really don't like this curling iron. I had it on hand and I went ahead and used it. But this curling iron pulls hair, and it's not a very good quality curling iron, and it's not anything that I would even suggest to use. However, if you are looking for an inexpensive curling iron that actually works pretty nice and holds curls for days, because I have used this one many times, it has held my curls for literally 3 days, is this Remington ceramic 1 1/4 inch. I really, really like this curling iron. For being an inexpensive, cheap curling iron, it's really great. Now, I know most people are probably like 1 1/4, like that's pretty small, because I know people like nowadays like to use fatter barrels. But for me and my hair, a fatter barrel, it won't do anything. It will not hold the curl. I have to go smaller barrel and a bit tighter, and then just let it loosen up through the day in order for it to hold the curl. And if you're interested in this Remington curling iron, I'll go ahead and link it in the description below. Okay, so now for the curling part. I'm going to go ahead and take my hair up, basically 3/4 of my hair. I'm going to go ahead and clip it up. And then what is left, I'm going to go ahead and start working on it. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom and then work my way to the top. Now, this is very basic curling iron technique, okay? And you're probably saying, why are you even showing this? Who the heck doesn't know how to curl their hair? Like, everybody knows how to curl their hair. And yes, that is pretty much true. However, as somebody who went to cosmetology school many, many years ago, I want to show you a trick for long, one-length hair. One length hair that is long is harder to to curl than just, hair that has layers. So the trick is, as you see here, we're going to start with the center of the strand. Start curling your hair at the center. Do not take the barrel all the way to the bottom and then roll your hair up. Start it at the center, roll, and then feed the hair through it. So you're rolling and you're feeding, and you're rolling and you're feeding. And that creates a long ringlet that will actually stay, and it'll stay usually all day. So let me show that to you again. We start in the center of the strand, we roll, we feed, we roll, and we feed. And that way, that curl will last. And that, my friends, is a basic Beauty School 101 tip. All right, so here we are with our curls, and I'm just kind of moving the hair around. I'm playing with it, creating a style, just forming it how I want it to look, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's turning out pretty cute. I like my new bangs, and this is what I got. If you want to leave it modern, you could probably even just leave it like this. However, if you want that vintage 70s look, start running your hands through it and start creating those feathers. Nothing screams 70s like the feathers, okay? That was definitely what was going on at the time. So just a flip of the hand and look at how much this has changed. Now we are most definitely pulling off a more vintage look. But why stop at vintage 70s? Why don't we go a little further back and go retro 60s? Now I'm going to go ahead and comb those bangs down. Instead of having the feathers, let's go ahead and go back to a basic bang. Now let's grab the hair that is directly behind the bang, and you're just going to grab a section of it, and this hair here is going to be back combed. This is where we want to add some height and make that really retro 60s look. So I'm just grabbing my brush and back combing some. And I want to just smooth out that top layer of hair above the puff. I don't want to take it all down. I want to be able to maintain that puff because we need it. I'm spraying it with a little hairspray just so it stays in place. And now I'm going to start bringing up hair from the sides and bringing it up, some of it over the puff, some of it on the sides of it, and just kind of bringing it up on the sides and just trying to create that really retro 60s look. This hairstyle was inspired by Brigitte Bardot. She just screamed the 60s. She was such a beautiful icon of the time, and I just loved her style. She had like this incredible sex appeal, yet she was just so wildly feminine. I just loved her, just absolutely loved her. She had this really unique look that just absolutely stood out. All right, so now that I have my puff in place, I'm going to go ahead and take some bobby pins and just do a crisscross in the back and hold that hair up and in place. I have thin hair, so I only really need 2, but if you have thick hair, obviously put a few more. And voila! Here it is, our 60s inspired hair. This bang haircut is really versatile. You can go from 60s, you can go to 70s, you can do modern. There's so many fun things that you can do with bangs. I gotta say, there is more maintenance involved, but I think it's totally worth it. I really love my new bangs. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to cut bangs into your hair really simply. I hope it was very helpful and you got a lot of knowledge out of it. If you like what you've seen here today, please be sure to like, subscribe, and maybe even comment. With that being said, thank you for watching and see you at the next video. Bye-bye.